welcome to FPL Selection. Today we'll take a look at how the team is shaping up for Game Week 32, but first a quick look at how we got on in Game Week 31. So 50 points, saw a third drop in a row, now down to 240,000. And the only returns for the week came from an assist for Rodgers, Defcon for Van Dijk and Thiago, and then Bruno Fernandes, captain, scored basically half my points with 26. Really disappointing week. A lot of the lesser owned picks that I didn't have all seemed to score. And I know this because one of my main mini league rivals seemed to own all of them. But hopefully with the double game weeks and chips to play coming up in the next few weeks, I think all the planning, should pay off for that. So yeah, I should be able to make up some ground over the next few weeks. Looking ahead now to game week 32, I've got 2 free transfers in the bank. I'm most likely just to roll through, as I do want to have a few transfers built up so I can be aggressive in the final few weeks. The current plan is to free hit next week in 33, so I can get 11 doublers out, and I can sort of, have my pick, have a few, sort of punts here and there, make sure I get the sort of standard, that most people are going to have, and have those few punts, maybe 3 or 4, try and get a few differentials to come through. And then week 34, I only need a goalkeeper to get an 11 out. So, that should be fairly straightforward. And then I can look to sort of get the City players for their double that's very likely to be in game week 36. They've got some nice fixtures in the lead up to that as well. And then potentially Palace players too, if they end up getting that double in 36 as well. I'll probably use the triple captain in that game week 36 double as well, most likely on a City player. But at the moment, most likely I'll need to take 1 hit if I want to get 3 City and 3 Palace for that double. So I am considering getting Henderson this week, just in preparation for that double. He's got a fixture in 34, which is where I need to make a keeper transfer, as both SANCHEZ and Dubravka are got blanks that week. And then he's got a better fixture than SANCHEZ this week, Newcastle at home as opposed to City at home. So yeah, it's a transfer that I'm going to have to make. And to be honest, I've been looking for any excuse to get rid of SANCHEZ for a long time. So might just pay off just to get him that week early. Obviously I'll get the 34 fixture from him as well. And then he's there ready for the double in 36 if that comes through. From everything I've read, it seems to be quite likely it'll be City and Palace in 36. They'll double. But I guess the only doubt with the Palace players is, if they continue to go far in the Conference League, will they just rotate in the league and just sack it off? So, but yeah, potentially could be a nice one to make that move this week. So one to think about up until the deadline. So now looking at the team for this week, SANCHEZ is at home to Man City. Lost complete faith now with the Chelsea defence. I think it's a real work in progress. They're very good in attack, but just too easy to cut through. Had barely any clean sheets since I've owned SANCHEZ. I've maybe had 1 or 2, I think, for a large chunk of the season. Man City, you expect to score in every game, so yeah, absolutely no expectations here. 1 or 2 points, maybe a save point if I'm lucky. And that's, I guess, why I'm thinking to bring that Henderson move forward from now, as opposed to wait until game week 34. Then Gabriel was at home to Bournemouth. Obviously a good fixture for Arsenal being at home. You've always got to back their defence to do well, but I think Bournemouth have sort of turned a corner recently, and yeah, always a threat attacking that. They always want to have a basketball game with you end to end. They're going to create chances, so it's certainly not a dead cert for Arsenal. And obviously they're coming off Champions League, and they obviously want to be ready for next week's second leg. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Bournemouth got a result here, and obviously a bit of pressure on Arsenal to keep their lead. But obviously Gabriel just points. That's what he does. So yeah, happy to still have him. Hopefully no more injury issues until the end of the season. And Van Dijk is at home to Fulham. Also lost all faith in Liverpool now. I think you can see that they've just packed it in for the season. Slot looks like he's just lost the dressing room there now as well, because they've been terrible all year, really. They got better defensively at some points, but just don't think they're probably need a bit of a rebuild there, to be fair to Liverpool. And yeah, probably a little bit of a clear out and some fresh players in. But I mean, home to Fulham, you'd normally sort of bank on that for a Liverpool clean sheet. But yeah, coming off a tough Champions League game, and obviously they've got the second leg coming next week. Would not be surprised if Fulham pick up a result here. And Diouf is at home to Wolves. Be interesting to see how West Ham cope after obviously the extra time last Sunday. You'd hope sort of 4 days would be enough for them to recover. Obviously, with the Friday kickoff's not ideal for them. Much improved defensively, West Ham under Nuno. But Wolves, with nothing really to, just got no pressure on themselves now because they know they're going down. They've played a lot better since Edwards has gone in there. It's a tricky one, this, because you'd look at that and think it's a clean sheet, real high chance. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Wolves, just play quite loose and free and make it really difficult for West Ham. Moving on to the midfield, Semenyo is away to Chelsea. I think this is a really good fixture for Semenyo. Chelsea have clearly shown their defence is not up to it at the moment, especially on the break, quick counters. That's obviously ideal for Semenyo, the likes of Haaland as well. He's been so consistent this season, Semenyo. Really didn't expect it when he went to City, but he keeps getting the starts, he keeps getting the returns, and yeah, he's going to be my vice captain this week because he's just so consistent, and I just do not rate the Chelsea defence at the moment. And Mbumo is at home to Leeds, and I've got Bruno Fernandes for the double United attack. First of all, I think this was a good fixture for United anyway. Home game against Leeds. Obviously, a lot of motivation from the fans. Big rivalry there between the two. But looking at Leeds' injury list now, they're going to be much weakened. They're not such a good side away from home. And, United have had a good deal of time to prepare for this game. So being on a Monday night, everyone should be well rested, ready to go, should have a nice plan in place. And I'm really expecting to see United score probably 2 or 3 goals minimum in this. And obviously Fernandes, main man for United, got to be the captain this week. And hopefully Mbumo can add to his tally for the season because he's been a bit disappointing really since I brought him in. He's had a good season at United, but I think just probably the last 4 or 5 weeks, I guess, he just hasn't quite been up to that same level. So I think he's had a little bit of an injury issue, so hopefully the rest he'll be ready to go in that one. And Palmer is at home to City. Palmer, again, another one, had his injury issues this season. Hopefully he's now nicely rested and ready to go. Obviously he's always going to want to prove something against Man City. I think he just wants to prove to everybody that, he should go to the World Cup, and just get back to that level that we know he's got from 2 seasons ago. So I am going to start him and Pedro this week. I think the goal's in it. I think City's defence is certainly not solid. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a few goals in that game. So Palmer definitely starting, and yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him pick up a return or two. And moving on to the forwards, Thiago is at home to Everton. Decent-ish fixture for Brentford. I think anytime they're at home, you do expect them to make chances for Thiago. But Everton have been really good away from home this season, so they've always got the potential to stink them out if they want to. So yeah, it's Thiago's coming off a goal for Brazil in the international break, so he'll be raring to go again. He'll obviously want to go to the World Cup, so for him it's basically he's got 7 games to really convince Brazil that Ancelotti then wants to go to the World Cup. So yeah, quite confident he'll get something there. I think any home game you'd expect him to get a few chances at least. And Ekitike is at home to Fulham. Really in doubt actually about Ekitike's minutes. I'm just starting him over Rodgers at the moment just because it's a home fixture for Liverpool. But I am half tempted to start Rodgers away at Forest instead. He does seem to get rests, when they've got Champions League games. And I mean, obviously they lost 2-0 to PSG, but it's definitely not over. Going to Anfield is, they can easily get 2 goals and take it to extra time. So potentially they're going to save him for that. Maybe he'll just get 20, 30 minutes in this game. I don't know. But it's definitely a little bit of a question there. So it's one to think about. I'm certainly not, rating Liverpool's attack at the moment. So might be Rodgers over him when I get to the deadline. And Pedro is at home to Man City. Again, as I said with Palmer, got to start both of those guys. Chelsea's attack is very good and they're both capable of scoring against anybody. I think the City defence certainly is nothing special and they're going to get chances in the game. Pedro's obviously been in really good form, so yeah, I think it's a no-brainer really to start those two, and Pedro definitely has to start, I think. So in summary, Bruno will be captain again this week. Leeds at home, just the best fixture for any of my attackers. So, along with his reliability, it just makes sense to stick with him again. I've got plenty of time after this week where I can roll the dice on a few captaincies, especially, the likes of the double game weeks, and maybe there's a few tougher fixtures for United I can go against him in the future. Semenyo will probably be the vice captain just based on his consistency. And I think the Henderson move, probably one I'll think through close to the deadline on Friday, but yeah, I do really like the idea of just getting rid of Sanchez, to be honest. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.